merge them together or something. Okay, so the way a dual float works is you have two floats. One's here, one's here. Either float turns the pump on, right? The second one is just a redundant float. So in most sump pumps, you have a pump with a built-in float. If something happens to that float, the pump's junk. The homeowner doesn't know, like, till water's on the ground. We're going to give you an extra float in every dual float. It's a secondary float that lets you have a second chance to turn the pump on, just built-in redundancy. Okay. You mount the float wherever you, just below the drain tile. So drain tile would probably be like right here, coming in, water's coming into the pit. Bottom float just below the drain tile. So as soon as water comes in and lifts the float, pump turns on. And after the pump turns on, typically what will happen is the float will drop right away.
Yep.
And then you set how long the pump runs for after that with a run timer, which is below the 9-volt battery. And you can set that from 5 to 45 seconds after the float drops. So a lot more flexibility than what you get in a pump that has an integrated float and switch. Okay, on a 1.5, you still get a weekly cycle just like you do in the 2. So every week it'll turn the pump on if it hasn't run. It'll just exercise the pump every week. So when the pump shuts off, the box starts counting. If it gets to a week, it just exercises the pump.
Okay. How long does it run for?
Just a couple seconds.
Okay.
And the 1.5 and the 2 also does that. The 1.5 has all the same stuff as the 2, just no alarms.
Okay.
So it has the adjustable runtime. It has the little light to tell you it's plugged in. It has the quick connect for the float switch. And it has the weekly cycle, but it does not alarm. It comes in all of the combo systems. Okay. That's a VS C1.5. Same idea. Now what's cool about the VS switch, as you can see down here, there's a little rubber grommet. And what most plumbers would be used to seeing is that this float would ride up and turn the pump down on and fall down as the pump ran and turn the pump off when it got back down here. Okay. This doesn't work that way. What's cool about this one here is this little rubber grommet is pinned the float down on the bottom of the rod. So the float doesn't actually go up and down on the rod. Water comes in and lifts the float, pushing this rod up, activating the pump, but the float never rides up and down the rod. The off is still with the timer. Okay. But what's cool about that is you don't get any debris up into the body of the float.
Oh, okay.
Right? You never get any debris up in here because it's all down here, isolated. Right. So it's really nice, reliable. I kind of give the example of it being like a pedestal pump. If you've ever seen one of those, it's like an old style pump with a big long rod and the float sits down on the rod and the motor sits above the pump, above the pit outside.
Yeah.
Okay, we sort of looked at runtime. So now I'm going to talk you through the lights and alarms on a 2400.
Okay.
And the lights and alarms are consistent on all of the backups. There is some functionality difference between a 2400 and the 1850 and the 1000. There's two smaller systems.
On the controller or
on the brain itself.
Okay.
In the software and in the way it works.
Okay.
And the two big ones are, one, it runs AC. I'm going to make this pink so you can see it better. Just give me a sec here. One, it runs AC or DC. Okay. And what does that mean? It means as long as there's power in the house, if the primary pump died, this backup pump runs right off the wall.
Okay.
Just like a regular primary pump.
Okay.
So a common question you get is how long will the battery last? Well, there's two scenarios a backup needs to turn on. One is your power loses. The other one is there's something up with the primary pump. Either it can't keep up or it died or something happened to it.
Yeah.
Right? Power's on. So if in that case, this just runs like a regular primary pump.
Okay.
Okay. The other ones do not do that.
Okay.
Okay. The other thing this one does is you can see right here it has a it tests the backup pump every week.
Okay.
Versus exercise. So this actually knows if the backup pump is good, bad, not plugged in,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Versus the other ones just go to turn it on, turn it off.
Okay.
Okay. So like on the primary pumps, like the 1.5, the little switches,
Yeah.
the 1.5 and the 2, the 1850, the backup 1850, those all exercise the pump once a week. This tests the pump once a week.
Okay. So it still activates it, but it's
When it does that, it actually tests it
Okay.
versus just activate it.
okay.
Okay. So you have 4 lights. Battery terminals are corroded or battery is defective. This is all things battery. Okay. This is a little too big.
Okay.
Okay. So it's really smart at how it looks at the battery, what it's going to see in the battery. Is the battery old? Does the battery have a problem? Does the battery have a short? If there's a battery problem, it's going to be that alarm. And even though the language says battery terminals are corroded or battery is defective, clean terminals or replace battery, a lot of people will call and say, hey, terminals are clean. Well, it could be a million other things with the battery. We're not listing every single thing
Yeah.
right there. We're just telling you it's a battery issue, right? The second one is, something's wrong. There's in the back of this, there's an AC fuse, which is a little round fuse, and then there's a block fuse, which is like a 25 amp fuse. And the AC fuse is the round one. The DC fuse is the square one.
Okay.
The DC fuse is for the backup pump. The AC fuse is for current,
Okay.
wall current. The unit is not receiving power. Could be its GFI or circuit's out. It could also be that fuse is out.
Okay.
Okay. So it's just telling you, hey, I'm not plugged in. This one here, DC fuse is bad. That could be the DC fuse is out. Could be lightning, something like that. Could be the pump drew high amps and tripped that fuse.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one here is, the backup turned on. Now the only way you get that bottom one is by lifting the backup float. Okay.
Okay.
So you know if that light went on, something happened. Either the water lifted it, turned the float on, lifted the pump at some point. Okay. Most commonly, it's like the primary was out, it was unplugged, stuff like that happens.
Okay. And does the back, like, say if someone has it in there and it's the primary just can't keep up and it kicks on the backup, that's still going to ring true to that, even though both are still activated?
Correct.
Okay.
If the backup turns on for any reason, you're getting that alarm.
Okay.
And sometimes you'll have the floats mounted like this, okay? There's one dual float and there's the other, right? So this is primary and this is backup. Primary. Backup.
Yep.
Sometimes water comes in so fast, it hits that float, but before the primary can pump it down, it hits that float and your backup activates.
Okay.
That can happen.
Okay.
And what we tell people to do then in that case is just take that backup float and mount it
Move
up higher. Or
Okay.
this one lower, right? Okay.
So you really don't want the backup being turned on.
No, because it alarms every time it turns on.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're looking at a PSC 33 or PSC 50. I can't tell, but it's probably a 33. It's the same exact backup, just a half horse or a third horse, and those pumps are basically look the same. So this is a 1 point DFC FC 1.5. This is a 2400. This is an S3033, and this is a 2400 pump.
Okay.
Okay, so this box and this are connected.
Yep.
This float goes over here and plugs into the back of the backup. This float, I'll use a different color. This float goes over here, plugs into this pump, and then you got this pump which plugs into the front of there.
Yeah.
And that's how the whole thing's connected. Okay. It comes out of the box just like this. You have a check valve right here, and you have a check valve back down here. And those are one for the backup, one for the primary.
Okay.
The reason you need 2 check valves below this Y right here, below where it splits off,
Yeah.
is because if you only had a check valve right here, water would just go up and down that Y.
Yeah.
So you need 2.
Yeah.
2 check valves below the Y.
That makes total sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a 4-year warranty from data install on this big system.
With contractor install.
Contractor install, correct. This here is a float stick, okay? So guys kept wanting the combo smaller, more compact, shorter, shorter, shorter. So we ran out of space to mount the floats over on the Y.
Okay.
Okay. So we mounted a 3/4 inch piece of PVC in the bottom of the sump foot and put that female adapter, and we friction fit that float stick right into the bottom of that. A guy can pull this float stick out and he can mount it on the side of the pit too,
Okay.
which is kind of a cool way to do it. Mount the floats right there. So you can do that.
Okay.
You can move the floats up and down on that rod.
Yeah.
Okay, this is an 1850. You got the exact same alarms on here. This is just the 1.6 amp versus a 13 amp charger, so a much smaller charger.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
That's why it can't run AC/DC. So you have a charging light down here in the corner, and there's 3 states of charge here. There's on, on, that's lit, blink, and off. So maintenance mode. So the charging light will come in and out of those states of charge depending on the needs of the battery. Okay. So on, blinking, or off. On means the charger's on, blinking means it's in maintenance mode, and off means it's resting.
Okay.
And that's totally normal. This little normally open, close, common. So the NO is normally open, the NC is normally closed, and the common is common. So when you go to a home security system, a lot of times they'll pull off those 2 wires right there and go to a home security system.
Oh.
Some home security systems work with normally closed and common, so we give you both.
Gotcha.
And then right here is a USB port for the Wi-Fi, and we'll talk about that too. Okay? Any questions so far?
No.
Okay. So this is for the accessory port on the C2 or our water alarm. So you got a 3.5 millimeter plug. You have the PWA 3 or the WS360 sensor and the PS-WS, which is a simple way to add a float into a pit just for a simple alarm.
Okay.
And then the PWA also has this little panel on the bottom that you can run anywhere. You can run it up to 300 feet and you just get an audible alarm if it touches water. The reason you don't want to put this into a pit is because condensation or spray will set that off.
Okay.
So you want to use a float if you're in a pit. And then we have 20-foot and 50-foot extensions
Okay.
for the accessories. We also make a PWA 360. Oh, that's right here. Which is a self-alarming, simple little water alarm. You can position it any which way. So you can position it on its side, up and down. It has some mounting holes if you want to use that. And it's, you just put them anywhere and they sound like a smoke detector.
And that sound
Can't tip over.
Right,
Yeah, there's 4 sensors on it, so 1 on each corner.
okay.
So it can't tip over. That's the concept in that. Essentially, you could tip this one over here. This one you can't tip over
Okay.
because any position it'll still alarm.
Okay.
And we have a Wi-Fi version of that coming out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is Cleanit. So this is just a really good sump pit cleaner. It's mostly designed for iron ochre, which is this red sludgy stuff that you see in certain markets. You definitely have it in Chicago. So this is just a really effective, simple sump cleaner. And then this is our most popular check valve, which is really cool. So most check valves are 1.5 inches, and 1.25 inches right there.
Yeah.
And what happens is the pipe, the 1.5 inch pipe, doesn't go all the way down into the valve. It it rests right there and right. Oops. Oh my gosh. Okay, right there. And what happens is there's rubber here, and it's not super strong. And if the pump travels or if it's not set super true, you can get these can blow off, and you can get expansion, and you can get problems, leaks, all kinds of stuff. So ours, this is actually a slip union check valve. You can actually take these. This is a 2 inch to 1.5 boot, that the pipe actually sits down inside the plastic.
Okay. So it goes all the way down into the.
It goes all the way down right into there, and then the plastic ends here, and then the pipe is just the boot is just the sleeve over the whole thing, so it has to sit true.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can throw these boots away and you can glue this with PVC glue if you want to do that. Yep. Any questions?
No, I've never had luck.